In 2011, the University of Tennessee administered an employee engagement survey to all employees. When IPS received overall and individual agency results, we saw some room for improvement in several areas. A large percentage of employees answered that open communication was lacking between senior leaders and staff, that their suggestions are not taken seriously by their supervisors, or that the new employee orientation process needs improvement. IPS senior leadership reviewed the results. This team includes me, the 2 assistant vice presidents, and the 5 agency directors. After our review, we then formed teams at each agency to discuss how we could improve in the low-scoring areas and made plans for moving forward on institute-wide issues. The actions we took as a result of the 2011 survey that affected the entire institute included scheduling more senior leadership visits across the state to meet with all IPS employees. You have seen me, Chuck, and Steve more in 2013 and will in 2014 as well. Reviewing and redesigning the employee intranet, which we will launch soon. The communications team, led by Susan Robertson and including Frances Adams O'Brien of MTAS, Liz Gossett of CTAS, Maisel Ely of MTAS, and Scott Gordy of the Central Office completed this work. Improving the annual performance review process within each agency. Changes will take effect during the 2014 review cycle. And revamping the new employee onboarding process. We assembled a team of employees who had joined IPS in the last year to review the onboarding process and make recommendations to improve the process for new hires. This team was chaired by Steve Thompson, with assistance from Chuck Shootman and Judy Martin of the Central Office. The team included Cherie Brewer of MTAS, Mike Gailey of CTAS, Brad Harris of MTAS, Wesley Robinson of CTAS, and Jim Thomas of MTAS. The review team's suggestions then went on to the Workforce Development Strategy team before being presented to the senior leadership team. The new process was implemented during fall 2013. The orientation process now includes 5 steps for all new IPS employees. On acceptance of a position, each new employee receives an electronic welcome packet with handbooks, a staff directory, and other timely information that will help them understand IPS and the university. All members continue to go through UT HR orientation on their first Monday at work. A UT system team is working to improve this process. Judy Martin schedules a brief central office orientation in the first few weeks of work and introduces the new member to the central office team. Each agency has its formal orientation process, and those are also being updated this year. We also are continuing with the IPS overview that we have held with new staff and the leadership team, the historic orientation provided by IPS. This occurs approximately every 6 months. Check with new employees such as Jessica Stooksberry in the central office, Jennifer Hagendyer from CIS, and Kelly Myers from MTAS, who have been hired using this new process, to see how they view it. After putting time and effort into making these improvements, the senior leadership team decided to conduct a follow-up employee engagement survey in the spring of 2013 for IPS employees only. We wanted to conduct a pulse check to see if any progress was made following the changes that were implemented. When we received the results, I was pleased to see that we had improved in a number of areas. Our external consultants told us movement by 5 to 8 points between surveys is considered reasonable, and we had an overall 8-point movement. We had double-digit improvement on 24 of the 65 statements. Several of the statements where we received double-digit improvement were, my job makes good use of my skills and abilities. My supervisor actively solicits my suggestions and ideas. There's regular and open communication among administration and staff. The UT system provides adequate support to the Institute, and my agency is a good place to work. We saw double-digit decline in several areas as well. Our review process accurately measures my job performance. Our orientation program prepares new staff to be effective, and I understand how merit increases are determined. As I mentioned earlier, based on the results from the first survey in 2011, we have already started making improvements to both the review process and the new employee orientation. With the expanded statewide visits we started in 2013, we addressed the salary schedule and raises with employees in attendance. I know these issues are not going to be resolved overnight, but we are making strides toward improving these processes. Our Workforce Development Strategy Team, chaired by Judy Martin, and including Wendy Eddy and Keith Ridley from CIS, Libby McCroskey and Terry Kinlock from CTAS, Karen Smith from LAIC, Bonnie Jones and Kurt Frederick from MTAS, and Chuck Sheepman from the Central Office will continue their work with other committees and senior leadership, continuing to look at the areas of the Employee Engagement Survey that have shown a need for improvement. We are committed to making IPS an employer of choice. I hope you will join the senior leadership team in helping us accomplish this goal.